wasn't yours. I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back, I'm going back to who I was before. I like me better, I like me better.
Hey guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. We are at the time of year where it's time to talk about some of the worst things that have launched in makeup for this year. Can you believe that? December just flew by. They said, listen, all the other months wanted to drag on, and drag on they did. So I'm gonna get up out of here so you can get in 2023. So if you guys wanna know my thoughts, let's go. Okay, now some of these are very specific to me and my experience with them, and some of them are just like, you just look at it and you're like, what was the reason? What was the reason for that? And the first one is that House Labs setting powder that came out when they also launched the foundation. Now if you watch my video trying that out, then you know I really like that foundation. It is probably one of the best foundations that I tried this year, but I also picked up the powder to go with it. And what I've learned with a lot of things, I'll talk about that with something else on this list, is that earlier this year I tried the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Balm in the Universal shade as a primer, and I've learned that my face is always going to look good with anything that I put on top of that primer because of that primer. So how I had to realize like certain things where I kind of felt a little iffy about them, so I had to try them without the powder. So when I tried this without the primer, when I tried this powder without the primer, I realized it was the primer that was doing the work. Because even when I put the powder on, I was like, I don't know. Like just something about how it looked on the skin just made me feel like I don't know about this powder. But at the end of the day, my face still looked good. So it's like, okay, I think that might be Danessa doing the work here. So let me try it without it. And when I tried it without it, it certainly was Danessa doing the work there. I just don't think that powder has like the best lasting power, especially I have oily skin. You know, my oil started to show. I feel like I started creasing with it on. It's probably best that you wear it with the foundation, because y'all know sometimes some products only play nice with other products from the same brand, because you know, same formulas, same stuff like that. Like they're made to go together well. So it's probably best that you try it with the foundation. But even with the foundation, without the Danessa primer, I was just... Okay, so going right into the next one, ponytail. Listen, last year, I think I did a whole video on how REM Beauty I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. And it didn't turn out to be that once I actually did try it. Still to this day, I think the only thing that I've tried from them that I like is the eyeliner. And I feel like that makes sense. Think Ariana Grande, you think her winged liner, that makes sense, right? But this year she did launch a concealer in a pot, if you guys remember it. And I was actually excited to try it out because it's like, I would like to find, you know, some things from this brand that I like. So I tried out the concealer, and once again, when I apply things on top of Danessa, like sometimes I'll try things on top of the Danessa and I'm like, it still looks good. Like I feel like this is the product doing well, so I can use it without it and it'll still be fine. And then I do use it without it and I was right, it'll still be fine. But some things I feel like if I feel iffy about you on top of Danessa, when I know Danessa is usually going to carry the weight for a lot of things, then that's already a bad sign, because if Danessa can't fix you, I don't know what to tell you. So the REM concealer, I feel like a lot of people were expecting and saying that it's supposed to be a dupe for the Kevyn Aucoin pot concealer, and it's clearly in the same type of packaging. It almost has the same type of consistency, almost, but no, it is not. It is really not. I can see where you want to make it, but it's not. It was creasing. It was just, it's just her brand. It just doesn't do it for me. And it's like she has cute makeup looks, but it just doesn't transfer over well to the brand. So it's another year of me saying it's just, REM Beauty just did not do it for me this year. Okay, now this one, once again, is very specific to me. Okay, but if you guys remember earlier this year, I tried this Dior voice. I tried that Dior foundation. Now the actual foundation was bomb. Like it applies balm on the face, it wears balm throughout the day. Let me not say balm too many times in this video, but it wore really nice. The only problem is, for some reason, Dior likes putting a lot of fragrance in their foundations, and that's why I can almost never wear Dior foundations, because I have very sensitive skin, so it really broke me out after I wore it. And it's like, I wanted to give it a try, so I wore it. It broke me out. I'm like, I don't know, maybe, you know, it was that time of the month, so let me try it again. No, broke me out again. So it's like, I couldn't do it. I decluttered it for that reason specifically. But for that reason, I'm gonna have to put Dior in this video, because why do you need that much fragrance in your product? And it's like, they don't have that fragrance in other products like that. So mind you, if you guys remember, Huda used to put a lot of fragrance in her foundations, and she stopped doing that. And look at that. Look at that. I need Dior to hop on that wave in 2023, because again, it is a very nice foundation, but if you have sensitive skin, it's best to not do it to yourself, because it will most likely, maybe it won't, but it'll most likely break you out. Okay, now this next one, when I saw Patrick Ta was releasing a makeup brand, I was like, oh, you know, celebrity makeup artist, love his work on clients. So it should be nice to see, you know, when a working makeup artist puts out products, you're thinking like, they're gonna put out products they would use on clients. So maybe if you use them with your techniques, you can get somewhat close of a face to what that artist does. I mean, wishful thinking, right? But you guys see where I'm going with this. So I was excited. I was interested when I saw he was coming out, and then I saw what he actually came out with. And it's why I've never really wanted to try anything from the brand, because it makes it very obvious that he's not going to put out products that have shades for my complexion. I think the thing that might be the most inclusive from his launch is maybe one of the eyeshadow palettes he's put out and the blushes, but even then I've seen the blushes in person. Okay, and it's giving stretch for me to use it. So once we start talking to people who are even deeper than I am, yeah. But I actually did try that compact where it's like foundation and powder in it. And again, even that, you know, the shade range is okay. But I think the foundation, it was a cream foundation, was the only thing that came on nice. The powder that comes in the compact with the foundation wasn't really doing it for me. So it's like, I'm not really impressed. But because the whole brand just screams, we're just going to not be inclusive, you're gonna go ahead and add you on this list, Patrick Ta. Okay, this next one, again, might be like a broader thing here, but one of the worst things to happen to the beauty community in 2022 is brands just completely giving up on being any type of creative and just collabing with any and everybody, okay? And I'm talking all of these movie, TV, just random collaborations where it's like some of them, the actual products, like when you look at the products and you look at the corporation, where it might make, where the colors in the collaboration make sense with whoever it is they're collabing with, but when you look at the big picture of it, it was like, what is the purpose of this, okay? The amount of Batman collections we've seen this year, Star Wars, and they keep collaborating with the same places. Like, how many Star Wars collections do we need to see? How many Batman? How many Harry Potter? Like, tell me you ran out of ideas without telling me you ran out of ideas. And I'm pretty sure this one was like late last year. They might have launched this one, but ColourPop collabed with the NBA. And even though it was last year, just to drive this point home of y'all collaborating with any and everybody, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes even the colors in there does not make sense. They collab with like every NBA team. And when you open the palettes, yeah, it might be, you know, yellow and purple for the Lakers, but like at the end of the day, you still need to put something in the palette where the person who is using the palette for a makeup look can put a makeup look together that's not going to look cringy. Like, let's be for real. How much can you do with a yellow purple palette for eyeshadow? And not just that, but taking away from looking at it for the actual product that it is, thinking about it when you look at how they market it, I feel like it's safe to say a majority of the NBA players are not going to promote the eyeshadow palette as far as putting the palette on, right? So it's like you kind of lose that promotion there because, again, I don't think you're going to send the palette to LeBron and he's going to hop up on Instagram Live doing an eyeshadow look. Maybe he would let his daughter do an eyeshadow look on him, but if you can't use the NBA to promote those palettes, there's the WNBA. And I'm saying that because I saw a tweet that was like, why don't the WNBA players get like makeup deals and stuff like that? And someone was like, they don't wear makeup while they're playing, so why would they be sponsored for makeup posts? And it's like, first of all, women athletes certainly do wear makeup while they're competing. Serena, what's her name? Simone Biles. Hello, like, yes, women do wear makeup while they're competing. But even then, if you could only get sponsorships for things that you do, why is Chris Paul the face of them State Farm commercials? You know, car insurance. So but the point is, that's a way that WNBA players could have gotten a bag and could have been utilized, but they weren't. So it's like, so then the real promotion of this really just boils down to someone who is a Nets fan, who's a Knicks fan, seeing it and liking it to get it simply because it's the Knicks or it's Brooklyn. And it's like, I get it, but no, stop. Like, and it's just how much it's being done. Like, it's not just like a random thing being done once or twice throughout the year. It's becoming a very common thing. Alice in Wonderland, Lizzie McGuire, like, again, tell me you're just running out of ideas on what to produce and you want to produce something. So you're like, hey, we have a name and you have a name, so let's collab together and then we can make some money. That's what it's giving. Okay, and the last thing, and I am so upset that I gotta put them on this list twice, but Fenty Beauty, I don't know what's going on this year, but I need y'all to get it together come 2023, okay? Because first, I'm not sure which one came first, but I'm gonna say first, y'all came out with that ketchup collab. It's supposed to be like a gimmicky collab, but like Fenty Beauty isn't a brand that needed to do that. That's the point. Like hot chocolate lip, been sold out, stays sold out. You have products that can sell out on their own quality. You don't need gimmicky launches. And that's what I'm saying. You don't need these gimmicky collabs with these random companies. Like they collabed with some company, and basically, if you guys didn't see it, you get this collection of like 6 packets that look like ketchup, and inside it could either be Fenty's Gloss Bomb or actual ketchup. And again, like I didn't see, you know, normal makeup consumers buying it. I saw people who make content for the internet buying it so they could show you this is what you might get if you were to buy it. So once again, it's like, what is the point of this product? And then they came out with the lipstick case that had like, I don't know, 500 Swarovski crystals on it. I think the price was like 500 something for a lipstick case. And it was their 7-year anniversary gift, something like that. Again, be for real. Now, mind you, it was only a limited number of lipstick cases that they had for sale on that, right? And when I talked about this when it came out, people were like, they know what they're doing. Clearly, they're marketing for a very specific audience, blah, 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 blah. Okay, first of all, you can market for a very specific audience, but if that audience isn't your normal target audience, let's start doing the math here, okay? Obviously, you'd be targeting for a very specific audience if you're selling something for $500 when the people who are used to your brand are used to your products being $20, $30, $40. Obviously, you are marketing to a very specific audience by putting out that one product like that. But clearly that one audience that you were marketing to didn't like it either, because they had a very small number of the lipstick. I want to say it was like maybe 100, 150 of them. It was still on the website. Because every time I would get a comment like that, like, oh, they know it's gonna sell out because they know they have a very specific audience who can afford it, blah, 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 blah. Every time I got a comment like that, I would go back to see if it was still available on the website. It was still available on the website. So if that audience you were marketing it for was that driven to go get a bedazzled lipstick case, and there's only like 100 something of them, it shouldn't have been that hard for it to sell out. That it was still there for like weeks. I mean, you could have put out an anniversary gift that the regular amount of people who shop from you would have wanted as a limited edition anniversary gift, and it probably would have sold out very quickly, but here we are. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that's 2 strikes for you on this list, Fenty. But I mean, they also did put out good things this year. They also did put out more gloss bomb colors, so it's like you're kind of forgiven for that, but don't do it again in 2023. Thank you. But yeah, y'all, that is it for this video. I feel like there weren't that many, you know, oh, this is like some of the worst things that launched this year, and even like as far as talk goes. But I also feel like talk as far as new makeup launches in the beauty community online has died down in the last few years. Even when it comes to good products, like I can think of some products that got a lot of hype this year. Hot Choco Lit Gloss Bomb was one of them, which is funny because it's not a new product like at all. But in general, you know, that excitement, that conversation that was there when new product launches were coming out isn't the same anymore. So, you know, yay that there aren't that many. Wow, this is a really bad launch, but I'm not sure if that's a good thing that there's not that much, you know, talk, especially because everyone's always talking about, oh, the death of the beauty community, the death of the beauty community. Again, you know, the pandemic did change a lot. It changed how people wear makeup, how often they buy it, what they focus on. You know, a lot of people might have left eyeshadow, or they might have left lip products, stuff like that. And I think brands are slowly trying to figure out what they're going to do with some of these launches, which is probably another reason why a lot of them have turned to just collabing with other corporations, because it's easy. So I think they're slowly trying to, you know, find their balance, stay open, stay in business. And I feel like in the last month or two, especially if you're on TikTok, I have seen more talk about certain products going viral, stuff like that. Everything has its cycle, everything comes back around. So will the beauty community get back to that point? Yes, I think it will. You know, again, like I said, right now, I think they're just trying to figure it out. But that is it for this video. Let me know what some of the worst things are that you saw this year or you tried in the comments down below. Make sure to thumbs up, comment, subscribe, turn notification bells down below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.